if you earn 100K, that is 100,000 Kenyan shilling, that's roughly 1,000, almost let me call it around $800 in a month or below. Wachana na gari ya loan. What does that mean? That is a Kiswahili word that means forget about buying a car on loan agreement, on loan kind of a thing. Don't just go there and get it on a hire purchase. I don't know, whatever you're going to call it. Just leave it. It's going to be very stressful. By the way, I'm sick and tired of pretending about this. Yesterday, I had a couple who bought who used the same analogy or the same formula to buy a car, and they were in a stress. Imagine in 1 week, I had 3 individuals having the same problem. You people, you appear as if you're successful outside there, but you people are struggling a lot. So today I'm going to talk about that. If you're earning a salary of 100K or below, wachana na gari alone. Just leave the hire purchase car or loan, I don't know, financing. Just forget about it. This is Good Joseph, and I make videos about this. But at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a very big disclaimer. So you rather watch this video until the end. Forgive my voice. I'm having a bit of cold. But anyway, business has to go on. Okay? This is Good Joseph. And don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe and you leave a comment. By the way, I really encourage you to leave a comment on this comment. If you agree with me or if you don't agree with me, it is free. Now, here you are earning a 100K salary at the end of the month. And you really want to own a car. But then you don't have the cash amount of money to buy that particular car. Probably if you earn 100K in a month, the car that you are thinking about, if you're thinking a car that is worth above 2 million, I think there is something wrong with you financially. Unless it is a business car. But I have to give this disclaimer. You can get a car on loan if it is a business car. But if it's your own personal use and you're earning 100K and below, just don't go for it. Don't go for it. Here is my explanation. Now, probably the car that you'd like to own, it's probably 1.5 million. That's like 13K dollars. Probably that's the kind of a car that you'd love to own. Probably that's a Honda Fit, that's Aqua, that's probably, I mean, you guys, you can find out. Probably you can even go for a second-hand car, maybe, maybe a Honda Vezel that has actually been used a little bit. But anyway, the budget is 1.5 million, but you don't have that amount of money. They will tell you, for you to own this car, if it's 1.5 million and you want to do a hire purchase or bank financing or whichever the agreement you shall have, probably they will ask you, let's say around 650K. Down payment. Okay, this is down payment. This is what they will ask you. Then the rest of the cash, which is approximately 850K, will be paid in installments, or rather not installments. Yeah, sure, will be paid in installments. And maybe let's say they give you maximum. Let's say they give you 24 months. That is 2 years. They give you 24 months. Because in Kenya, in most car dealership, they give you a max of 30 months, which is like 2.6 years. 2.6 years or something like that. So let's say they give you 24 months. For those who have ever bought a car here, tell me, how much are you supposed to pay per month? If you buy a car worth 1.5 million on a hire purchase, the amount of money you pay in a month is probably 31K. That is the case, 31,000. 31,000, 29,000, depends on the amount you did put for your deposit. Assuming you went for the minimum deposit, which is around, or let's even say half of this, which is 750,000, they will ask you for around 31,000, 30,000 or thereabout. Let's even use a figure of 30,000, okay? Now, here you are, you've bought yourself, you did have the 750,000 for the first deposit, okay? The deposit. Now, once you do that deposit, then you'll be paying monthly. Then they tell you you'll be paying 30,000 each and every month. And you have a life to earn. And remember, when you buy this car on a hire purchase, there are some other expenses that usually come in. You have to pay for a tracker because they have to know where that car is at any given moment. Number two, you have to know one thing. Let me just even put those figures down here for you to understand why I'm discouraging you to have this. And I've seen people shooting their foot using this same formula. Unless this car is for a business. If it's for a business, just switch off from this video, go to the next one, because that is okay, you can buy. But if it's not for business, it's for your personal use, you are shooting your foot, and this is how it goes. Now, let's count the cost expenses of this car. Each and every month, you're supposed to pay 30,000. Are we together? 30,000. And remember, we are getting this money from our salary, which is 100,000, isn't it? So your salary is already at 70,000. Now, the second thing you need to do fueling. This is loan repayment. The fueling in a car worth 1.5 million, probably if you are just driving from home to work, and probably on the weekend you can rush to up country a little bit, or you can go some few road drives here and there. Give it a max of 20,000 of fueling, or let's be a bit economical. Let's put it at 15,000 in a month. 15,000 in a month, and of course that one can actually be way less. Now there's something else. This is fueling. Let's put what we call parking. Parking, it depends with which city you are in Kenya. If you are in Nakuru, it's 100 bob per day. If you're in Nairobi, it's 300 shilling for your parking. Well, if you're working somewhere where you guys were given parking, well and good. Now, let's even say you're not, time to time you'll be forced to park this car in your town. Let's say in a 30 days, in a month of 30 days, let's say you park in town for like 10 days. Okay, let's even say 15 days or half of that period. That is 15K, 1,500. No. 10 days by that is 3,000. Okay, if you're in Nairobi, that is 3,000. If you're in Nakuru, it's half of that, or half like that. That is parking. Let's go ahead and do insurance. Probably if you are the first timer, you're gonna go for comprehensive, of which is highly advocated. And comprehensive, it's around 4.5% of your car. What is 4.5% of 1.5 million? Okay, I'm telling you that's probably is around 40 something. Is it 40 something? Because 10% of 1.5 million is 150,000. Half of that, that is 75,000. Let's talk of about 40-ish K. Let's talk about 40-ish K. But now this 40,000, it is not per month, it's per year. You divide that figure by 12 to see how much you're supposed to be setting aside each and every month for you to do what? For you to, it is 40,000. I'm using random numbers here. Okay, but we can even calculate, by the way. What do we say? 4.5%. 4.5% divided by 100, then multiply this figure by 1.5 million. We see actually the actual figures. Whoa, that is actually around 67K. 67,000. It's not even 40,000. That's around 67K. 67,000. Then you divide that figure by 12. You divide that figure by 12 to see how much you'll be setting aside each and every month. That is 5,625. 5,625. That is what we call insurance, comprehensive. Okay? And I've assumed there is no repairs, there is no maintenance, there is no nothing. You ain't gonna scratch your car. Those are the basic money that you need to have to set aside in a month for you to have that car, for you to own that car. And don't forget one thing, this car is depreciating because it's a liability. So you're financing, you're buying this car at a very high amount of money. It is a depreciating because it's a liability, and at the same time it requires you money to maintain a depreciating asset or a liability. Now, if you were to do a summation of all these mathematics here, this is 45K, this is 48K, it's around 51K. This is approximately 52K. 52K has eaten away half of your salary. Now you're at 100K, you minus 52K, you're talking about 48,000. Are we together? 48,000, okay? Out of 48,000, now zoom in into your normal life. You have to pay somebody who is earning a salary of 100K. Probably if they live in a house where, well, probably let's talk of about 18,000 in a month. And of course, that might be way less. The rent, this guy has a rent of 18,000, okay? If you do a shopping a month and whatever probably equivalent of that, that is around now another 18,000 or something like that. You are at 36,000. You are left with around, we are at 48, we are left around with 12,000. You've not done your shopping, you've not done, or rather you've not done what we call the night outs, you've not done some black tax, because if you're in Africa, you have to do some black tax, meaning supporting your family members. Out of the 12,000 that is remaining, you are unable to as well, what do we call? Because life is not about eating and drinking and dressing. It has other things like, growing, moving to the next level and what have you. You're only left with 12,000. 12,000 here, do some shopping, or rather, what do we call? The shopping for your clothes. We've not even paid the utilities. If you deduct the utilities here, water, electricity, Wi-Fi, another 5K is gone. Another 5K is gone. You are left with 7K. By the way, I'm giving you this real example of a couple I had literally yesterday. This is the situation that they were facing. They're earning this amount of money. They have a car. They bought, whatever the figures I'm feeding you here, this is what was happening. So you are left with only 7,000 here. 7,000 here, this couple has a dream, or you have a dream, probably of owning a home in future. Then you're figuring out by the time you're finishing paying this car, maybe that is 2.5 years. Car depreciated at a rate of 10%. I stand corrected. In most cases, they depreciate, especially these quote-unquote new cars. They depreciate at a quite of a high rate. You know, let's say if you depreciate at 10% per year or something like that, by the time you're finishing to pay this car, with probably you're going to pay it at around because we usually say it's 10,000 on top of that. So it's 10,000 each and every month. How many months are you having? 24 months times 10, that is 240,000. Add here, that is probably 1.74 million or around 1.8 million. That's what you're going to pay. That's like 300 on top of whatever you. And now you're paying that car at 1.8. By the time you finish to pay, so that they give you the logbook, by the time you finish, that car is not worth 1.8 million. That car is probably worth 1.2 or even 1.1 million, assuming that you have made 1.2 or 1.3, assuming that you've maintained that car in a very good shape. See, you've managed to, now this car, you're only using it for your own purposes, just taking you from point A to point B, from point B. You know what? People, when I make this kind of videos, people say, hey, Joseph, you know, life is for the living. I truly agree. And I know you love cars. By the way, I don't think you love car more than I do. I really love cars. I'm a car enthusiast. I love cars and I would love you to own cars. But let's be real. The vibrations of economies are telling you cannot afford it. There is a problem ahead. Half of your salary is gone for only car. 52,000 is gone. You can't manage to finance this. You know, sometimes I tell people, with that 750,000, for God's sake, if you really need to have a car, then you can go for a second hand, the locally used car, and you can get a very good one. Just get yourself a very good make. Go to a place, the same car yards. You can get a very good, by the way, 700, let's assume this is a Honda Fit, 1.5 million, and you cannot afford to buy it. You can simply go ahead and purchase a second hand one, you know, a little bit used, or let's say a quite over decently used but still running, and is a car. You buy it cash. You know why? Once you buy it cash, the 30,000, it is safe. You can have the 30,000 for your investments. You know what else is gone? Of course, the amount of money you pay for your comprehensive would be 67,000 because it depreciates. You know, they they do the valuation of your car. Probably it will be around 30,000, probably half of this. So, meaning, which is 5,625, that's around 2,500. That's going to be paying each and every month for your insurance. The fueling might remain the same or slightly above because, of course, you know, maybe the fuel can jump into, say, 18,000 or 20,000. What else? The 3,000, what was it? The parking, probably that remains the same. So where you save most is what you are paying each and every month. And this is where people don't get it right. So please, my dear brothers and sisters, not that Joseph don't want you to own a car. And by the way, I'm not here to dictate what you're supposed to do with your life, but we are just saying the truth. And it might hurt you. Sometimes even me, when I get this information from my mentor, it pains me. Some things, sometimes, you know, I love when we have a conversation with my mentor. We sit down and we conversate. Some things, sometimes I remember, let me not say that. There's something I wanted to do in terms of investment. And I approached him, I explained myself, and what have you. The guy hit me with the realities on the ground. I mean, I walked out of that meeting, you know, my head was down. But he beat me with the, you know, he did hit me with the reality on the ground, the actual figures. And it was so disheartening. And I was like, you know what? I think I should shelve that idea. I think I should go for the other ones. And I cannot regret. I'm good. For God's sake, this is a guy who was successful. Why wouldn't I listen to this guy? Now I'm telling you this week I met 3 guys with the same problem of a car. Another guy was actually begging me to sell his car. He was telling me, Joseph is draining me out. The guy was earning around 76,000 after all the deduction. And he cannot even manage. Do you know he was only using that car on weekends? He's draining him. I know we love cars, and I know you love cars. You can go ahead and purchase, but please be careful. Don't get a car and then you get yourself into a problem. By the way, if it was a business car, you know this car is generating income. Probably you want to do the taxis, or you want to do the online taxi. You want to do something, you know, with this car, you know, in a business way. It's okay, you can go for a loan one. But if it's not a business car, then I'm telling you, you're going to get yourself into problems. I know you'll be like, okay, then Joseph, how much am I supposed to be earning in a month for me to afford that car? I should say in a very simple way, when you can manage to buy it cash, that is the time that you can afford. And when I say when you can manage to buy it cash, you know, it does not make sense if you have your savings is around 1.6 million. And the car is 1.5 million, you buy with the entire 1.5, you are left with 100K. Unless maybe owning a car was your ultimate goal in life. And that is when you say, if you buy a car, you are now successful. That is what the financial freedom, if that's what the financial freedom means to you, it's okay, you can go ahead and buy it. But then if your need and wish is to create wealth, then that is not the path that you explore. I'm not standing here because I know everything. I'm not standing here because I have a manual for life. No, I'm standing here because I may know one or two that you don't. I also believe you also have something that you know that I don't. It is good to understand some figures. And by the way, the good thing is nowadays, these people who are selling cars, they want to know how much you are earning. Because you also be a problem to them. Why? You give somebody a car at that amount of money, and then if you zoom in into the expenses, you realize they will be struggling to paying you. It also means bad for your business as a car seller or as a car dealer. So nowadays they're actually asking you, would like to see your bank statement, how money flows in, what gets out, how much is your expenses, and all those kind of things, so that they can be able to gauge and see if truly you can. For example, you can have somebody asking, this car worth 1.5 million, I only have a deposit of 300K. Can you allow me to get the car? No, they cannot allow you, because they know you'll struggle a lot and you'll have to pay a lot of money. Because I love the way what is happening nowadays. At least, I just love the way the new things are. So the point is, guys, please, and if you have to buy it in a higher purchase way, then at least go above 1 million. Maybe you can go to 1.1 million. You are left with only 400,000. Then you're given 1 year to pay that 400,000. It's still not a best idea, but the more money you put into that deposit, the better, because you're going to have yourself an easy time. Because telling me for the next 2.5 years, 2.4 years, or rather 2 years, or 2.6 years, giving away this amount of money each and every month, I'm telling you. And sometimes I ask people this: if truly you're going to own this car in a period of 2.4 years, if truly you can afford to set aside 30,000 each and every month to pay that car, then why don't you then invest that money for now and wait for those 2.4 years? Because at the end of the day, you loan that car at 2.4%. I mean, at 2.4 years from today. So why don't you just delay the gratification, then you buy that car and you won't have any problem. And along the way, things changes. How many here have ever bought something, then within a month or two, you feel like you want to sell it? It happens. Anyway, I welcome all your views, all your comments on the comment section. This is good, Joseph. By the way, anytime you do anything to do with investments, buying something, huge purchases, and you love my services, you need me to talk with you in one way or the other at a private conversation, that is my number out there. You can shoot me a call. We can talk business. For now, it's a goodbye. See you in the next one.